Hey everyone, my name is Ehsan and you're watching QZ Stories. Today's story is about an HOA Karen who thought my private pool was her personal water park. She trespassed, lied, and even dragged the HOA into it. But she never expected the plan I had waiting for her. Let's dive into the story. It was one of those blazing summer afternoons when the air feels heavy and the sun doesn't give you a break. I walked out into my backyard with a glass of iced tea in hand, ready for a few minutes of peace. But what I saw made me nearly drop the glass. There she was, HOA Karen. Not standing outside my fence. Not ringing my doorbell. No, she was floating in my private pool like she had bought a season pass. A bright pink flamingo float carried her across the water, sunglasses perched on her nose, sipping a drink with a smug little smile. "Don't mind me, it's community property," she called out casually, waving at me like she was the hostess of a pool party. Community property. My pulse jumped. I bought this house specifically because it wasn't under HOA control. My land, my rules, my pool. Yet there she was, claiming it like it belonged to the neighborhood. The strangest part? She didn't even act guilty. She acted entitled. I forced a calm smile. No yelling, no screaming. Because in that moment, I realized something. Karen wasn't just breaking rules, she was testing me. And people like her, they don't stop unless you stop them. I whispered to myself, "Okay, Karen, game on." To understand Karen, you need to know this. She wasn't officially elected HOA president. She just declared herself one. She strutted through the neighborhood with a clipboard in hand, short blonde bob bouncing, sunglasses hiding eyes that never stopped judging. At first, her reminders were small. A note on my door about my trash bins. A passive-aggressive warning about how my grass was too long by HOA standards. Except my house wasn't in their HOA zone. It was an independent property, grandfathered out of their little suburban empire. But Karen didn't care about facts. She cared about control. Then the pool incident snowballed. One Saturday, I came home and froze. Karen had invited guests. 3 women from down the street were splashing in my pool like it was a community rec center. Lawn chairs unfolded, towels spread out, music blasting. I stormed over. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Karen barely looked up from her magazine. "Page 6, she said smugly, shoving HOA documents into my hands. "Shared amenities. You're part of this community, so that pool belongs to us all." Except there was a tiny problem. Those papers didn't apply to me. My property wasn't theirs. My pool wasn't theirs. She didn't know it yet, but I had ironclad documents that could crush her fantasy. The following weeks felt like living under siege. Karen's pool invasions weren't just random. They became routine. She'd strut into my backyard in full swim gear, sometimes alone, sometimes with guests. Other times, she'd sit in a lawn chair near the pool, sipping a soda and barking out rules like she was the lifeguard. I tried reasoning. I tried locking the gate. She scaled the fence. I even tried calling the HOA board. Their response? Nervous laughter. "Karen runs the show," one neighbor whispered. "Better not make her mad." Make her mad? She was already mad. So I called the cops. Twice. And both times, Karen flipped the script. Tears, dramatic sighs, shaking voice. "I'm the HOA president. This pool is community property. He's being aggressive." Shockingly, the officers didn't do much. They suggested I work it out civilly. That's when I realized Karen thrived on intimidation. She counted on people backing down because she shouted louder, cried harder, or made herself look like the victim. But she underestimated me. I wasn't going to back down. I set up cameras. I pulled every document from my property purchase. And I prepared one final move. The kind of move that doesn't just end the fight, it ends her credibility forever. A week later, the HOA announced a mandatory neighborhood meeting. Location, the clubhouse. When I walked in, it felt like stepping into enemy territory. Karen was already at the front, clipboard in hand, chin lifted like a queen about to pass judgment. The room buzzed with whispers. Some neighbors glanced at me with pity, others with curiosity. Karen spotted me and smirked. Here to apologize for withholding community property? She said loud enough for everyone to hear. Laughter rippled across the room. But instead of answering, I carried a large envelope to the front and placed it on the table. I let the silence stretch, then slowly pulled out the contents. Deed, survey map, legal exemption papers, every document notarized and crystal clear. Funny thing, Karen, I said calmly, though my heart was pounding. This pool is not yours. It's not the HOA's. It's mine. Always has been. The smirk fell off her face. I continued, flipping to the final page. A legal notice warning the HOA about trespassing liability. That means every time you or anyone else steps onto my property without permission, you're breaking the law. And I've got it all on camera. The room went silent, dead silent. Neighbors leaned forward, eyes wide. Karen's lips trembled. For once, her clipboard couldn't save her. The silence shattered when one neighbor whispered, "Wait, she lied to us?" Then another, and another. Karen tried to recover, stammering about misunderstandings and community spirit. But the damage was done. She wasn't the queen anymore. She was the clown. And the best part? The cops showed up again, this time because I called them before the meeting. I handed over the documents. The officer skimmed them, then turned to Karen. "Ma'am, you're officially warned. Entering his property again will be trespassing. That's arrestable." Karen's jaw dropped. The color drained from her face. The same neighbors who once laughed at me now whispered about her. Some shook their heads. A few even smirked. The empire she'd built on fear collapsed right there under the fluorescent lights of the clubhouse. After that night, Karen vanished from my pool and my yard for good. I installed a new lock, added more cameras, and for the first time all summer, I enjoyed the sound of water without hearing her voice screeching in the background. The moral? Bullies thrive on noise, but facts cut deeper than volume. Karen thought she could own my peace, my property, my pool. Instead, she got owned by